Alrighty guys, welcome. This is going to be the first in the market analysis and trading video content series. So today's video is just going to be going over how to set up MetaTrader 5, kind of walk you through setting up the environment, downloading, installing, and then setting things up, and then walking you through some of the tools, right? So first you want to go ahead and go to the MetaTrader 5 website, download the executable file. I already have it downloaded, so I'm not going to, but just for your purposes, so you know what specifically should be downloading, right? So this is the setup window. You're gonna just read and click next. It'll install everything onto your computer. Also, if you want to do automated trading, you're probably going to have to install script, basically the MetaTrader script tool. Okay, so this is asking me to sign in. I need to go find my sign in, so what I'm going to do is pause this and then I'll come back. Cool. So I didn't even sign in. I just kind of bypassed that, and it'll ask you to just click next, and then you'll get to this screen, right? So then you're going to open an account. You can open a real account, you can open a demo account, or you can log in with an existing. What I'm going to do is just log in with my existing. Alright, cool. So once you're logged in, you'll kind of get a screen that looks like this. The first thing you want to do is only pull up charts that you intend to be trading. So you can go into Market Watch. It has some foreign exchange pairs listed already, and then also some stocks. So the way that you kind of see the live charts is you click into the Market Watch and you drag the window out. I'm really only concerned with USD and the yen, so that's what we're focusing on. So I just kind of maximize that, and then you can play around with color schemes in the properties section of the chart, but I prefer color on white. Just kind of looks nicer. And also, can I zoom in here? Because that would be helpful. So let's get rid of that and see if I can zoom in. Yeah, but I want candles, so let's go to view. Maybe it's in properties, common candlesticks. There we go. Okay, so yeah, I think that's also useful, right? So you can either have the bar chart, the line chart, or candlesticks. I would just set it to candlesticks on default. Down here, this is the moving average. I forget what CD stands for, but this is kind of a metric that lets you know, that shows you how the average price of the commodity or the exchange pair is changing over time. And so when you and it's technically referred to as an indicator, right? So this is your chart with the live price action, so it depicts how price is moving over time. And then what a lot of traders do is they'll add indicators. So I'm actually going to delete this and just kind of keep this here, so that we're just kind of all on the baseline. Okay. Alright, so I'm also going to get rid of this. Cool. So what we want to do is make sure that we know how we see different time frames. So That's going to be this section of your toolbar: 1 minute, 5 minute, 15, 30, an hour, 4 hours, a day, a week, a month. Based on what we did in yesterday's stream and what we learned, we probably want to start out looking at the week. So we look at the weekly time frame to get kind of a bigger picture context of the overall market structure. Is it trending? Is it ranging? Is it choppy? It looks like this is trending, as we saw yesterday as well. Then you kind of move to the daily time frame window. It gives you a little bit more resolution. But again, you're looking for patterns. You're looking for, are things trending? Are things ranging? What are the support and resistance levels? And support and resistance levels, and if there are any smaller trends that you can see within. And then you get to the 4 hour and below, and that's where you're really looking for technical indicators. So you're looking for your candlestick patterns, tweezer bottom, engulfing, bullish engulfing, things like that. Things that you should, or I would recommend that you should be quizzing yourself on, just so that you have, a good kind of toolbox of candlestick patterns that are easily recognized, and you know what they mean, and one, what it indicates or suggests the market is about to do, and two, what it reflects about the interplay between the bulls and the bears and the buyers and the sellers in the market. So once you've kind of had this all set up, I think the next step is to kind of add your indicators. So you can go to this insert tab and indicators, and this is where you see the list of all of them. This is going to be somewhat arbitrary. Whatever particular ones you find are, most helpful in your understanding of the market, you should add. But I think the accumulation distribution volumes, some kind of volume indicator is important, because it lets you know how much capital is flowing into the market and out. So for instance, if you see a small bar with a relatively low amount of volume, it tells you that there's not a lot of force behind the move, right? But if you see a big candlestick, and similarly, if you see a big candlestick with low volume, it tells you that there may not be a whole lot of momentum behind that push. Conversely, if you see, a large candlestick over here with a relatively high amount of volume, it tells you that there's probably going to be some momentum pushing prices up until the volume kind of drops, or the market changes, right? And what else do we kind of want to showcase here? I think this is a useful tool right here. So it scrolls the chart to the end. So it kind of puts you on the latest tick. And then this guy also puts you on the latest tick, but it kind of gives you a little bit of space. So it adds a little bit of white space there if you want to, add some kind of line, predict how the trend is going to go, that kind of thing. And so I think that kind of segues into the next tools that you should kind of be familiar with. Is one, the crosshair, right? So this kind of helps you look at specific data points on the chart. You look down, you can find the specific time on the x-axis, and you can find the specific price on the y-axis, and then also in the dialog box that opens, it'll tell you the open, the close, the high, the low for that particular candlestick. So that's just kind of useful if you're really looking for some granular information. And then kind of as we move along the toolbar, you can create vertical lines. This might help if, there's a specific trading window that you want to trade at. Let's say you want to trade between midnight and 8 p.m. This is what you would be looking at. Like, let's say you saw a piece of news that said, interest rates were getting jacked up, and you wanted to see how the market responded. I think using a tool like this where you can kind of isolate that section of the time frame and really look at what's happening. You probably want to look at like a smaller time scale, and then you just kind of go back until you're within the bounds of your lines that you just made, and you can kind of analyze things a little bit more, right? So let's get rid of these. You can get rid of them by right clicking. So right click, you can delete all the arrows, you can delete all selected. Also pull up an object list, right? So if you have tons of things that are kind of all over your chart, you can select them, unselect them, and manage them from this object list, right? So you can manage the properties, you can show, you can hide, you can list them all, and you can delete, right? And it deletes from the top. I think, actually no, it deletes from the bottom, but I think that's also a little bit useful. Next thing is the horizontal line. This is going to be kind of your bread and butter for when you're looking for resistance levels, so resistance and support levels. You just click the button, you click on the chart, you pop it on, and you kind of have your levels. Maybe you want to play around with colors. You can do custom colors, you can do whatever. You can play around with styling of the line, right? If you want it to be if you want it to be if you want it, wait, where did it go? Let's go for my object lists. Show. Cool. So that's another cool thing. You can kind of just go into the object, like if you lose track of the objects that you put on the chart, you can go into the list, click it, and click show, and it'll take you to the section of the chart where it's viewable. But like I was saying, you can modify the properties of the line, you can change up the colors, you can just kind of do that to suit your whims, adjust the parameters. I mean, it's a horizontal line, so it's really just you're adjusting the height of it, where it hits the y-axis, and then you can also like adjust which time frames it's visible for. So if you don't want to see this support resistance on lower time frames, that's a good question. Is a low time frame something like a minute, or is a low time frame a month? Interesting. I'm going to come back and I'm going to answer that question. But in essence, you can adjust which time frames objects are visible for. And so let me just delete this stuff. Cool. Then you can draw lines here. These are useful if you're just kind of looking for trends and you're trying to compare it to and so for these, it's probably easier to just delete them and redraw if you make a mistake, because trying to manipulate the parameters is just kind of annoying. But let's get rid of this guy, select him. Cool. So it deletes from the top, actually. Bless me. Excuse me. Let's get rid of this guy too. The next tool is like an equidistant channel. So if you think there is like an order block or like a fair value gap, this is an easy way to just draw some parallel lines without having to draw two and have them not be perfectly congruent, or perfectly congruent and perfectly parallel. Let's select them, let's delete them. Then we have a fib retracement. So this is an indicator. In all honesty, I'm not exactly sure what this tells us. I guess I'm not even gonna talk out of my ass. I'm just gonna say fib retracement is a tool. It's an indicator. I think traders use it. I don't know why they use it, but ask me again in a month and I'll probably know why they use it. And then you can also add text, right? So if you want to say, hey guys, it's juice. Well, that didn't work. Okay, so there's a name and then there's a description. The name is what's going to show up in probably the object list. So I'll just say text box, description, okay, it's juice. Oh, cool. And this is also a little bit of a pain to move. You can adjust it here. So the date is, your y-axis value, or reverse. The date is the x-axis, the value is the y-axis. So you adjust these. You can shift it left, right, up, down, whatever. But it's probably just easier to delete and then, put it somewhere else. And then finally, you can add, these other objects: thumbs up, thumbs down, arrow, stop, check, all these things. So I think this will be useful when I'm making future videos, just so I can kind of pre-mark up the chart and walk people through why I decided to take certain trades. So next on this kind of toolbar is some kind of pre-baked charts. So you just kind of, it does the same thing as the market watch. Just some common charts that people use. So foreign exchange pairs, the S&P. This is invisible because I'm using a live demo account, and I don't think I've set up retail stocks. And yeah, so all this stuff is not visible to me. But if you go into your profile and you set up an account with an actual broker, then you'll have access to the real-time data and all of the markets that broker also gives you access to. Interesting. We're just going to kind of play around with this guy. What did that do? Okay, so I guess you have different layouts, viewing layouts. They're listed here: the British pound, the default, the euro, and then also market overview. And it also has some pre-baked indicators slapped on here as well. For my purposes, I may go in and create my custom viewing window or whatever setup and save it here. And this just kind of enables you to switch quickly between different charts that may have different indicators that you use on them just easily. Then symbol list. I don't really know what this is for. We'll probably figure it out later on down the line. The IDE, this is for if you want to write scripts. So if you want to get into automated trading, you can write advisors, which they monitor the market live, and then I think they send you prompts buy this with this take profit, this stop loss, that kind of thing. You can also program indicators. You can write scripts, like I said, library services. You can write in Python. You can set up a database. And as kind of a project, I want to create I don't know if auto trader is the right word, but set up a automated trading, either advisor or script, and kind of test how that works and I'm going to model it based on the trading strategy that we come up with for this channel over the course of this month and beyond. But all that stuff is in the editor, so you can access that through the IDE button. Then there's also a marketplace where you can buy advisors, scripts, services from other users of MetaTrader. So I don't know why this isn't working, but let's just say okay, cool. Yeah, so you can basically, if you write a good script or an advisor that's profitable, you can put it on the marketplace and sell it to other users. So gold scalping, looks like, I don't know, this is all, I would say it's probably better to understand how to do things manually before you kind of get into automated trading in the marketplace, but if you want to go explore, be my guest. Just know that a lot of them are relatively expensive, um, but some of the free stuff is good. Like Trend Catcher, probably a good indicator. Supply and demand order blocks is probably also a good indicator. Um, Candle timer, The moving average, yeah. I'd say this is kind of a rabbit hole. You can get lost in the sauce here. It's better to just kind of stick to the basics. That's my take. And then what do libraries do? It looks like, okay, so it lets you use lots of symbols, and I don't know. We'll explore all this stuff that I don't really know much about um, in the future, in future videos. So it's the marketplace, signals, virtual hosting, and this all becomes accessible when you're trading on a real account. Um, this kind of enables you to turn off algorithmic trading. So if you don't want to have any automated trades go on, you just turn that off and it'll disable it. So let's say like you want to trade during a certain time window and you don't necessarily want to be monitoring things live, you could turn on algorithmic trading, and then once the window ends, turn it off so it's not doing stuff while you're not, in the vicinity or able to respond. And then finally, these are basically the same thing that we saw in the properties tab when you're changing how the actual data in the chart is represented, right? So you have the bars, you have the candles, and you have lines. Zoom in, zoom out, and then arrange windows as non-overlapping tiles. So if you have a whole lot of stuff, let's just say we're just going to make this messy, right? Click this button and it will sort all your stuff for you. Kind of cool. But let's throw a bunch on. Boom, boom, boom. And it doesn't matter. Like, it'll partition things relatively equitably, and then you can kind of just adjust and remove as you see fit. So I think that's kind of cool. And then save the active chart as a picture. I guess that's like if I wanted to do a screen grab of like a trade that I was doing, like let's say I select this chart, click this button, you can it's basically like a screenshot, but either the workspace, which is the entire window, the active chart as it is, or a specific portion of the active chart. And I think that about covers everything. There are some additional stuff that maybe we want to pay attention to in the Market Watch section of the interface. So you have your symbols. What you can do is you can add more columns, right? So it tells you the bid, it tells you the ask. Bid is what buyers are bidding, what they are willing to pay. Ask is what sellers are asking people to pay for. Usually the ask is higher than the bid. The daily change represents the difference, I believe, between the two as a percentage. But you can add more columns, right? So if you want to see what the volume is, you add the volume column and the data should populate. And same thing for all these other parameters that you can monitor. So that's useful. If you are looking for quantitative data as opposed to just kind of visually looking at, let's say you have a volume indicator down here and you can kind of visually see, okay, it's somewhere between here and here, yada yada yada. If you actually want the specific data points, go in here and pull up the column, or click it again and get rid of the column. I think that's kind of, I don't need that. details. So like whatever you have selected. So let's say I have this guy selected. You can find the details of that specific symbol, pair, asset, whatever. So you can find the bid, the high, the low, the ask, the changes, and you can pull up, just a whole bunch of information. Trading, these are just like quick buttons. So if you wanted to execute trades in multiple different markets, you could kind of set up these buttons to do that. And then ticks, honestly, I don't know, and I'm not going to waste time trying to figure it out because I don't think it's necessarily going to be anything groundbreaking. And we can in future videos play around with the tools and at least the windows, just kind of how you organize all these windows. Duh. Well, yeah, so we'll go over some of the stuff that I didn't cover in this video, but this was just kind of a quick video to familiarize you guys with MT5 as a trading environment, and then I guess I'll also kind of just give my thoughts on it as a whole, right? There are other softwares that you can use, or web brokers is not the right word, but trading environments that you can use that look sexier or have better graphics. But I think if you're coming at this from the standpoint of I want to get my hands on things as quickly as possible with minimal barriers to entry, so I don't want to have to pay for a subscription to add more than 2 indicators to a screen, or I want to be able to do automated trading without having to pay for a subscription. MetaTrader 5 is going to be the best bang for your buck. No other platform really offers the same amount of functionality and features at that free price point. The only barrier to feature and functionality is your ability to Google and learn on your own, really, because there's also a marketplace where you can, if you don't want to spend the time learning how to make a custom indicator, or because you think the existing indicators that are offered are not sufficient, you can just buy it on the marketplace. So it's a no-brainer to me. I think this is the best bet for anybody that's trying to get into trading. That's why I decided to go with MetaTrader 5. I tried TradingView before, as well as I think it was like IG. I think, well, maybe it's changed to like Cherry something, but I've tried a couple other trading environments, and I think maybe visually they looked a little better, but the functionality was just kind of I just felt hamstrung, like throttled. So that's kind of why I gravitated back towards MetaTrader 5, and this is what we're going to go with moving forward. So look forward to next week's Monday live stream, where we'll kind of once again go over the routine, right? Do a little bit of learning, recap, do a little bit of candlestick pattern practice, and then also quiz on understanding what's going on in the market, going over things that the Fed has released, news, how that impacts our overall context of the market, and then we'll get some practice trades in as well. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. That's all for today. Stay juicy. Oh, also, I'm super hyped. My SSD came, and I just fixed my computer, so stream should be a little bit better quality. You should be able to hear me better. The video quality should be a little bit better, and I'll be able to kind of multitask a little bit better as well. So look forward to that. I have to catch up a little bit. I need to stream because this is Tuesday. This video is supposed to go out yesterday, but I fell asleep and I missed the deadline. So putting it out today. I gotta make up, so I'll put out the health and fitness video after this one, and then also we'll probably do a quick little live stream tonight, going over what my goals are for health and fitness, where I am right now, and where we're trying to be in the next, quarter of a year, 3 months. So yeah, cheers, guys. Stay juicy.